welcome to my channel. Today I have a card tutorial for you. It's for this 3D easel card, and it's in the shape of an octagon. Now this idea comes from Ann Melvin of Positively Papercraft. It's her design. I will leave a link to her channel and to her video in the description box below. She's an amazing crafter, and I've learned so much from her over the years. Now, if you'd like to learn how I made this, and you could too, stick with me and I'll show you how. Cut the pieces for this octagon-shaped easel card. I don't own any octagon-shaped dies, so I used my scan and cut to make this one. And if you're going to use a die, or if you're going to draw it out by hand, just be sure that you leave it attached here so that you have that hinge where you can fold over. And with any easel card, the same principle applies. You fold one half also in half, so you've got two folds, one in the center, and then on one end you'll also have that second fold. Now if you're not very confident with doing that, you can put it in your scoreboard and just got to score this anyway because I need to score down the 6-inch mark for my fold. So I'm going to score there, and then I'll turn it round because I already started to fold it there, and I'm going to now take this measurement and divide that in half, so that is 3 inches. So you can just go ahead and score there, and then you'll have your fold so that it folds up just like that, as with any easel color. It is like that. That's all the folding I'm going to need to do. So I'm just going to put that away, and I'm going to set aside these pieces until we come to them. As with any easel card, you would take another shape and attach it to this section of the fold, and it have perhaps a topper or something like that. But in this case, we're actually going to make a box out of it. So for that, I've got these strips cut, and one of them measures 10 by 1.5, and one measures 10.5 by 1.5. And how I came to that figure is measured each of these sides, and they're 2.5 inches, each of those. So I do have some more scoring to do now, and that is on these strips that are going to wrap around to form the box. So I'm going to, on the 10.5 inch one, the longest one, I'm going to score at 1/4 of an inch, and then just for ease, I'll just turn it around and score again at 1/4 of an inch. And then on the short side, the 1.5 inch side, score at 1/4 of an inch all the way down. So I'm going to do that again on that side. And then with our second piece, we're only going to score on the short side, the 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. Okay, so those are those lines done. Now these in scoreboard again, and on the long side on the 10.5, I'm going to count out 2 1/2 from either of those ends. So the first will be, since this was 1/4, then we'd have 1 1/4, 2 1/4, so that's 2 inches. And then I need to count out 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, which means at 2 3/4, I'm going to place my next score line. Now to 5 1/4, to 7 3/4, and to 10 1/4. So there are our marks for that. Put this one in, and since we don't have the quarter tabs, we can just go right in and just score at 2 1/2. And then we're going to count out 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5, 7 1/2. And that's it. We're down to our last 2 1/2. Then we're going to fold and burnish these and make some cuts. So just going to fold over that now. This must now curve round this octagon. Going to need to make some cuts here, and it's much like as in sewing, where if you want something to curve around a corner, you make little snips into your fabric. The same with card. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a V shape on either side of those score lines, like that. Continuing on down. So that's going to give us some maneuverability with our strips. And the end, you want to also cut the V and form that little tab at the end. So you can cut up like that if you like, and then come over. But I prefer just to make the V all in 2 cuts rather than 3. So this is going to look like a strip of tickets. A couple of choices here. You could either go ahead and attach this piece to this half of the card, or you could go ahead and attach these now to this and then attach that to the card, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So I've got my pieces here all prepared, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold these out this way because I want this card is the American Craft card, and it has this textured side on one side and then the smooth side on the other, and I'd like the textured side to actually be on the outside. So I'm just going to bend those tabs back like so, and then can attach our adhesive. Now you could, if you wanted to, use a very skinny strip of double-sided tape to attach this, but I really don't recommend it because you don't really have a lot of time to change your mind if you put something in the wrong place. Glue will always give you a little more grace, a little more time to actually get something into place, and you can actually take it off a lot easier than you'll ever get your double-sided tape off. I'm going to attach these pieces all the way around by first starting with one of the tabs. I'll get that one in place first. So, glue all the way down and close to those edges as well. And if any of it, you know, oozes out the sides, we can always just rub that off. But we want to be sure these are stuck really well. And this is Octagonal glue, and that's a very strong glue. So we'll just marry these up so that that fold matches with that side of the octagon, like that. Then we can take the bone folder, give it a good press, make sure that's secure, and then we can go on to the next one. So now that we're to the other piece without the tabs, all we'll do here is simply attach the tab to the end here, so that that gives us that continuous piece on over to the other. So on the back of this 1/4 inch tab, I'll apply the glue and just match that up again. Fold that over a little bit there. You can actually wrap it under there and get it to grab hold like that. So that that fold, which formed the 1/4 inch mark, is now on the beginning of this piece here. So I'm going to place it here and give it a nice burnish, and then I can continue on as before. The other side, going to go ahead and place this tab inside this last little piece, and also put that to the bottom. Just take your time. Just going to go around one last time to give those tabs a jolly good burnish, and then we can move on to the next portion. Right, that turned out rather nicely. Now before I attach this, I've got a few other things I want to do, and actually it does involve this piece here. I'm going to turn it over, and on the back I've got an additional octagon which has been cut smaller. In this case I cut this at 4 3/4, and also a little frame to go around it as well. So you could write your message or even stamp another sentiment if you like. But I want to put that on while it's nice and flat. That piece there with the gold mirror is in place. Oh, here comes our critic. Hello. Welcome back, Chloe. this is also given our little box time to dry. And are you going to help, or are you just going to criticize? What is it? Yes, criticize, I know. I have this piece that is going to go into the bottom of the box, and it's actually going to cover these tabs. Not down. Okay, I'll help you. There you go. So I'm going to glue this in place. To one more final burnish there, and that is in place. And the insert is the same size as the rest of the box, so it's 6 inches. Now you can put whatever you like inside of here. You could have butterflies, you could have paper flowers, you could have, you know, any number of things that you wish to decorate it. And for my choice, I've got, first of all, lovely topper, which I've printed on my home printer from a free download for members of Debbie Moore's website. And that is going to go in the bottom, but that's not all. I also have another free printout, and in this case these leaves are from Create and Craft. What I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to manipulate them a little bit, and in fact, to help them curl, I can actually take my scissors and cut a little slit in those spots there, and help it to curl. And you could even take your bone folder and just let them curl up to give them a little more dimension, like so. Determine how I want to display these pieces. Before I do that, I've got this piece of cardstock left from where I cut out the octagon for the message, and I'm going to take the topper, just lie it down on here so that I can get a rough idea as to the circle that I want to attach these pieces to. So I'm just drawing around there. I'm going to just roughly cut, and it doesn't have to be anything perfect. I'm never good at cutting circles, so I'm not going to worry. But I'm going to stay within or inside of that line there, so that it doesn't show once I've attached everything. As I said, you don't have to be perfect with it. Just follow it around as best you can. And it's going to be hidden. So. As I said, I'm rubbish at cutting circles. So let's play with this next. I do that, I'm going to take this back over here, and I'm going to cut another so that I can place this under the topper, just to give it a little more stability. And again, I'll just follow that line more or less around. You won't see any considerable improvement, I can guarantee that. now I'm going to glue that to the back of this piece. And now I'm just going to have a little play with my leaves and my topper. Mind, this is not going to be accessed anywhere, so that's going to be good enough. Right, now this will be placed inside of our little box. I'm going to give it some extra dimension by adding some foam strips on the back. Foam strips, and place them here on the back. This is about 2 mil, but I want a little more height, so I'm actually going to double that. What I'll do is peel this off first. And just another little tip for you, if you had a lot of little squares around here, for example, rather than these strips, which are, fairly quickly removed, the backing's removed, you don't have to actually remove the backing on every single one. As long as you have the weakest points glued down, you can leave the others with the backing on, because they are only providing that depth, or that height, rather than the security, so, or the support. I'm going to put that on there. That final piece there, I'm ready to put it in place. So my box over, and I'm just going to rest it in there initially. And we have this 1.5 inch clearance here, but I want to be sure that these leaves are going to be stuck down inside of there. Round a bit. If need be, I could always just give this a bit of a haircut. So, always just put a little dab of glue on there. Keep it out of the way, at least until everything is in place. I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle with some of these gems I have here, and just going to maybe dab them around this topper here. little bit of glue for extra stick. I'm going to start with, let's see if I can pick that up. I'll start with this one here. And we can just move it. Oops. Don't want all of them to come at the same time. I'm just going to push that and pick that up and place it where I want it. So there we are. And I'm going to put the others down now. Now this piece is going to go on the outside, and before I attach it to these tabs here, I'm going to place my acetate. Now I've got this piece of acetate cut, and if you, I don't know if you could see that at all, but these tiny little dots on here, and on this side it looks silver, but on this side it looks gold. So what I'm going to do is attach it to the back of this piece here. And the size doesn't matter really, just as long as you've covered everything. And to keep that in place, I could use red liner tape, but I think I'm just going to use some of this art glitter glue. It's a quick drying glue, and it also does dry clear, but of course we're not going to see any of this, so I'm going to be sure that I've got that down there. And I could put it on the acetate or put it on the card. I think I'm just going to put it on the card. Go all the way around. Going nowhere now. So I've got that, and I remembered to put my textured side on the outside. I'm just going to go around with my glue now and glue that in place. And then life a little easier for myself, I'm going to go back to that art glitter glue and use that in place of the collal, so that I can just go round and do all these tabs. So that glue has had a chance to grab on, and also to help disguise any imperfections around the edges there, I've got this piece, which is also cut at 6 inches, and it's about a quarter, perhaps just a tiny little bit over a quarter of an inch wide. So I'm going to put that down as well. To use this baby wipe to go around and get any residue off, as well as little fingerprints and such, any smears. And when that's dried a little bit, I'll go over it and buff it. what you saw me doing there was a little something to fix a problem. If I were going to do this project over again, I would probably increase those tabs on these side strips to 1/2 inch, because as you see here, I had a little bit of a problem with this part here. There was a couple of these tabs were beginning to collapse, so I don't think they had enough strength in them. I think they were much too narrow, so I would probably change that to 1/2 inch. But as every good crafter knows, there's nothing a butterfly or a flower can't fix. So I've made these little clusters of flowers, which I'm also going to just give a bit of shape to. And I put some flat back pearls on there as well. What I did with these is I just took the flowers and offset them as I put them down. So I would have one with petals that way, and then I would put one with petals that way, and then a third with petals offset again. So what I'm going to do now then is place them on the top like that, and that will help to disguise that. Still got a bit of marking up there, not really. So I've got my hot glue gun, hopefully all charged up. To honest, just attach these petals to a small circle. These are about 1.5 inches, and I think that one's about 1.25 inches. I'm just going to use my hot glue gun to place those down there. And I think I'll start with that one. So, glue on the back, instant grab, and hopefully instant fix. To fix the box onto the front of this card. And as I said, you can only put your adhesive on this half here. And then your box will go up like that and stand like that. But we'll have to put a stopper here to keep it from just collapsing. So do that. I'm going to go back to my clow to give it extra strength. Bit of good measure, I'm going to add some of this as well, so that it gives this cloud time to dry. We'll still hold this in place, so I'm just going to flatten it down and place it on those sides. I can see also from the back if it's working. Sentiment mounted onto this piece of Mary cardstock is going to act as the stopper for this little box here. And it's going to go on the front here. I'm going to put that down with some double-sided tape, because that is a slick surface and the glue is going to take forever to dry and may never really truly stick as much as I would like it to. So, but this will be a pretty instant grab. Come back in with the foam tape, because this needs to be higher, so it can't be flat. I'll come to the end of that, haven't I? So just put that bit in the middle like it's some wheel. Now, if you don't have any foam tape, or you run out of foam tape in the middle of a project like this, and you still need that dimension, as in the case of this sentiment, what you could do is take cardstock, just scrap pieces that you've got, doesn't matter what they look like, no matter the color, anything like that, and just glue them together and stack them one on top of the other so you've got the height that you need. Now, this stopper is preventing this from just completely collapsing like that, but when you're ready to send it, you can just close it up like that. You can make a little box for that, unless you're giving it in person. There then is the three-dimensional easel card in the shape of an octagon. I'm so pleased you were able to join me for the making of this three-dimensional easel card. I would like again to give full credit to Ann Melvin of Positively Papercraft for this sensational project, and I am going to leave a link to her channel and her project in the description box below. I hope you also picked up a few little tips on what to do when things go askew, as in the case of the collapsing box. Always keep in mind, it's handmade. It's not out of a factory. It's not off an assembly line. It's handmade, and it's handmade always with love. And again, it's just a bit of card and paper. Don't stress about it. It's the making that is the journey. If you would like to leave a thumbs up, I would be most grateful. Comment below and share with your friends. Every interaction with this channel ensures that it gets noticed more by YouTube, and so it's more available to other crafters. As always, please stay safe and crafty hugs. Bye.